Can someone lower this a little bit? Yeah. Thank you, Morgan. I'm learning.
You're good. Just pull it towards you a little bit like that.
Thank you. This poem is called America in Four Parts. But most importantly, I think I'd want as much silence as possible for the next 10 seconds to honor all trans, all queer people that are being affected by what's going on in the country and all around the world. Thanks. Part 1. The serpent lies in an infinity loop, choking on its tail. Teardrops in the eyes. This is the cost of the American dream. Watching migrants open curtains from multi-story hotel rooms, hands to their foreheads, tears down their cheeks, attempting to reach freedom through the glass, as they are locked behind it, as they are told to board the bus, as they are taken to a detention center in the jungle where real snakes exist. And where these people realize venom isn't sentient, it does not have empathy. And when the psychopaths of this nation attempt to coerce you into worshiping a 3,000-year-old book, ask them to respect the piece of paper that made this country free in the first fucking place. Part 2. If Christ was truly born of a virgin, wouldn't his DNA be wholly female? Recently, I wondered if Adam and Eve had belly buttons. Once I went online to ask about Jesus. They disconnected the moment I mentioned intersex people. Clearly, they didn't have any interest in defending their little book. Sometimes I wonder how tsunamis, terrorist attacks, school shootings, all the world's horrors can hold the gaze of millions when there is a vulture hunting a starving child through the camera lens and a woodpecker in the background pecking at the cross on a headstone, and 2 more drilling their beaks into a church steeple, and 5 more drilling into the Capitol, and 1,000 more that used to before a wildfire fucking swallowed them whole. But maybe it's not the pecking that we should fear. Maybe it's the silence when the knocking stops. Maybe humanity's collective bystander effect is just a horcrux not even Voldemort could destroy. It is simply a tax Christ will come to settle in a mirror for all who witness it. I used to sit in my grandparents' bathroom, feet resting over the vent, reading Harry Potter just to feel warmth in a house made of ice. Sometimes I wonder if that was how Christ felt when the Romans pierced his side just to see if he was really dead. Part 3. It is Saturday, January 18th, 2024. It is 11:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Los Angeles holds 1 million firecrackers in its teeth. While kids make makeshift blankets out of the wrappers, Tennessee and North Carolina drown in Poseidon's tears. The inauguration is around the corner. Congratulations, America elected a felon, a felon, a felon. We pay incarcerated volunteer firefighters less than they deserve. Cars gone, houses gone. The dog at the top of the hill choking on what it thinks is rawhide is just its younger brother's charred leg. A woman with Alzheimer's puts mittens on her kitchen, thinking fire means cold. Her car melts into the scorched earth, and she remembers her husband's name for the first time. Helicopters and airplanes drop thousands of tons of water, a man-made hurricane and a man-made hell. In this country, the incandescence of a forest matters less than a social media app disappearing. Meaning gone, purpose gone, compassion gone, obliteration, annihilation, no exhalation, only inhale after inhale after inhale. In this country, to find remorse, sorrow, or sadness is to be a nun in a convent, swallowing a torch and praying to her own God. Part 4. How does a nation breathe when its own citizens are ghosts, even when they're still alive? How does a nation breathe when its own citizens are ghosts, even when they're still alive? Earlier this week, a SpaceX ship disintegrated into the sky, but children couldn't feel the bullets that entered their chests because they were too excited to finally taste snow. America, what does it mean when a military helicopter collides with a passenger plane over America's capital? The Washington Monument reaches out like a hand that only knows how to open carry. America, what does it mean when the helicopter does more pirouettes in 1 minute than the figure skaters who died in the passenger plane ever did in a lifetime? America, what does it mean when the glimmer of stars on a flag at half-staff dims at 8 a.m., when everyone has come to the conclusion that there are no survivors? America, what does it mean when a river holds departed souls closer than the Department of Defense? What does it mean when the air traffic controller goes home that night to their loved ones and watches it all unfold on TV in a slow-motion replay over and over again? America, what does it mean when news channels say, stay for a while, let our blood magnetize your irises, for that is how the ratings go up? America, what does it mean when the victims' families cry more tears than the dead could ever imagine in the afterlife? When veteran parents watch their son, their pilot, their veteran pulled from the rubble? America, what does it mean when America looks like a fractured snow globe, forgotten on a shelf somewhere, immobilized, haunted, frozen? America, what does it mean when the felon of the United States fires the head of the Coast Guard and completely guts aeronautical safety only days before? America, what does it mean when the Potomac River, a name given by the Native Americans who lived alongside it, holds these fallen hearts with no judgment and doesn't think twice before washing them into peace? When the river doesn't send them back to their country covered in ice? America, what does it mean when America falls yet somehow gets up, still does a triple axel with 2 middle fingers and lands on 1 foot? America, what does it mean when America unties its figure skates, licks the bloody blades, and smiles?